Hey guys, this is definitely a familiar sight, me staring down the back of an MR2 looking at the engine bay. Anyways, we got the brakes on and everything seems to be working so far. I haven't driven the car yet, but the brakes are on and the system bled fine, so I think we're looking good there. Still got a test run, got to bed the pads in and all of that good stuff, but as I mentioned before, the rear valve cover on this 2GR is leaking. It was pulled multiple times, not by me, but it was pulled. So I think after a while, the seals do go bad if you lift them and put them back. So we're going to throw some OEM gaskets on. And for now, we're just doing the rear. The front still has the original setup, that's not leaking. And in the interest of labor and investing time, we're just going to do the back. So with that said, you know, the front is right here. You can see it. So it's probably a little bit easier than the back, but for the rear section of the valve cover, you have to take up the intake manifold. So we're going to start by doing that. There are two 10mm nuts, one here, one on this side, and then down the middle we have some hex bolts, 4 of them. So we're going to go ahead and pull those. We'll also have to remove this hose right here, and there is another hose which is right over here. I kind of marked it with this green tie wrap just to make sure I don't miss it when I put everything back together. And we're going to remove this intake. Once that happens, I think this thing should be free. We'll literally unplug the throttle body right here, unplug this one right over here, and I think that should be free if I remember correctly. So that was pretty easy. I pulled the throttle body. Initially, I wasn't gonna pull the throttle body, but then I forgot. If you look down here, there's the 2 water lines that go to the throttle body. On my engine, I don't have them connected yet, so that kind of was throwing me off. So I don't want to pull these, so I just decided to pull the throttle body instead. So now I'm gonna put some tape. I'm gonna cover this up while I'm working here because I do not want anything to fall in. So just as a little bit of insurance, I'm gonna tape this up so I know that's protected. All right, it's not the prettiest, but it prevents anything from going down in the chamber for now. So now we're gonna get to the valve cover. So here it is, we can see it. I gotta pull the spark plug coil packs out, and then we're gonna move this wire harness out of the way, and then we're gonna start attacking. We got a bunch of 10mm bolts all the way around and 2 12mm bolts right down here. It's a little awkward, but it's visible, so we'll just start working on that and pull this hose right here as well. Alright guys, so basically we just got to pull all the 10mm bolts around the valve cover. 2 12 right here, one here. Everything is a 10. So just follow it all the way around and just keep pulling everything. Now this one is a little bit tricky, so I have to use a wrench, and it has like a little swivel here just to get into here. This VVT line, I'm going to pull this. It's right under the tower. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this bolt out. So we're going to pull it and we're going to try to slide the valve cover backwards. But for now, the goal is just to literally just get all the bolts out. So I pull them. I'm going to take them out. I'll count them when I get them out. I don't know exactly how many there are, but you'll figure it out when you're doing it. So now let's pull it, get the valve cover up. Alright guys, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this VVTI line right here. Now this nut is a little bit rounded, so I'm hoping my wrench is going to go on and not slip off. There are 2 washers, one in the inner and one in the outer. Now when you take this valve cover up, because I think we're going to be able to just pull this bolt out slightly, we got to make sure we secure this thing so it doesn't fall into the valve train. So just word of caution when you guys are doing it, and I hope I'm not jinxing myself because that would be a total disaster. But anyways, let's try to pull this thing, and it's kind of rounded, but let's see. Let's hope for the best here. All right, so this is a short 12 that's in the back, and then as you see over here, we got a longer one that goes right here. So just note of all of that. I'll show you up top here. So these are the screws I've taken out so far. We have the long 12 on the side, short 12 on the back, and then we have a bunch of 10mm, same size. There's one left over here by the VVTI line. So we're gonna pull the VVTI line right now, and then we're gonna go pull this one. The only screw that's left is this one in the center. This is a hex bolt that was replaced, not OEM. And then the valve cover should be loose. Now look right here. Look at all the tools that I have. You know, it's funny, like we always say these things are easy, and hopefully I make it look fairly easy on the videos, but you really gotta have a lot of tools. So that toolbox over there, believe it or not, you know, if you're doing this stuff in your driveway, you can probably get by, but you're just missing one tool just to get in the nooks and crannies of these things, and that's it, you're stuck. So, you know, every time you buy a tool, guys, just remember, you may not use it today, but you'll use it tomorrow. So let's keep moving with this. I'm looking at this bolt, and it's a little bit rounded up. So again, went into my tool arsenal, and I kind of, you know, it's kind of sticking up, so I couldn't get the wrench on properly. So what I did was I basically just filed it a little bit so I could get the wrench on, and then I didn't want it to slip, so I used my pry bar here, and that is how I'm going to pull this thing, which I think is going to work very well. So breaking out all the stops right here. Actually, this is a 19. Where's my 17? There you go, my 17. Sorry, I had the wrong tool there. So just go like this, and just to prevent it from slipping, and there you go, I got it to pull. All right, so we're gonna pull this out. Again, pay attention to make sure this washer is secured once we lift the valve cover up. All right, so the last bolt in the middle, I'm gonna get it out. I did pull this, and my wife suggested that I put a tie strap here to kind of protect this washer from falling down. So it's a little bit of extra insurance. I think it's gonna work, and then we'll just snip it off when we put the thing back in. So, you know, just trying to be extra careful here. I know it's probably overkill, but I like to be safe than sorry. So that's what we're doing. All right, so all the bolts are out. Now I'm gonna pry. There's a pin in here that the valve cover sits in, and one over here. I'm gonna pry on those. Just kind of ease this cover up. Let's see, it might just come up. Nope. It's gonna need, there you go. It's a little bit loose already, but it's stuck in the pin. So I'm gonna get my little pry bar, and we're gonna work down here, just to get it out of these pins, and we should be good to go. All right, valve cover is up. I know you guys see what I was kind of maybe overreacting to, but there's our washer, there's your timing cover. If anything falls in there, you're not getting it out unless you rip this engine apart. So I like that solution. So yeah, do that. All right, so there are 2 seals in here. There's these little blue rings right over here, and this one. Now we're not gonna replace those because it's really just leaking Actually, look at this. It's actually broken here. Who knows? Let me see. Actually, look at it, guys. It's broken right here. And it's actually not on the valve cover. So that could definitely explain why this valve cover is leaking. Okay, interesting. And where that piece is, God knows, but it didn't fall in the engine bay because there's no way it could have a gasket fall in the engine bay right now. We see that. There you go. That is quite interesting, which makes sense because all of here was getting oil and it would just run down. Wow, very interesting discovery. There it is, the whole piece is gone. And let's go back over to the valve cover and check it out. Yep, so this is the valve cover here, and this is our bolt. So essentially this section is just all but missing. Wow, interesting. So hey, with that said, let's just seal it back up, throw it on, and should be good to go. All right, sure enough, I'm like, where the heck could that piece be? So it looks like it fell off inside. I don't know if it fell before we pulled this thing or it fell when we opened this thing, but I had to use this zip tie to go in there and fish it over like that, grab it, and then use something to pull it up. So thank God for that. But I was worried about the washer, and sure enough, the washer is fine. And a piece of the valve cover fell in there. You guys can see down there, if you look down on the subframe, a lot of oil. So it was definitely leaking. See, oil burning off right over here. So yeah, so we'll clean this up, throw some RTV, and throw the new valve cover down, and we're good to go. All right, guys, new valve cover gasket is in. Again, it was leaking before, so I don't know. It broke. It obviously broke potentially when we were taking it off, or maybe there was a crack in it, and that's where it was leaking from before. So when I lifted up, it just kind of broke. Who knows? But this is the new factory one in. It's pretty loose, so now I'm going to try to get it in all in one place, maneuver it over, because of that bolt, it's kind of hard to clear the timing gears, but gotta do what I gotta do. So let's get this back in the car. All right, guys, so I got the new the new valve cover gasket on, and let me tell you, it's a mission to get it in, because you know you gotta get the valve cover, gotta prevent it from falling out. And right here where the timing chain is and the gear, you got to get this over the hump, and this pipe is in the way. So what I found was I just kind of slid it in between here. By no means am I saying that was an easy process, but took some finagling, and my wife who was filming actually helped me. That's why we didn't catch it on camera, because she held this section with holding the valve cover in place. I held this section and we just kind of worked it in. So I'm trying to tighten down the valve cover now to get this big bolt threaded in, because I want it to go in very smoothly so we don't run the risk of cross threading anything. So that's what I'm working on. So I'm going to tighten it up, and hopefully we should get this done pretty soon here. So again, this is late at night, so when I go to bed, I'm telling you guys, if I was a guy, I swear this bolt such a pain in the ass, because you got to make sure you thread it in nice and smooth. But I finally got it in. The trick is there's a valve cover bolt right here, 10 millimeters. So you kind of have to torque that down as best as you can to bring it down so it lines up the hole, and then you get it in. So we're on the home stretch now. It's just a matter of doing the torque sequence on the valve cover. I'll put up a diagram right now which shows you, how you torque them. Because the 12 millimeter bolts are 15 foot-pounds and the 10 millimeters are 7 foot-pounds, but you got to torque them in a sequence. So here's a diagram, and I'm going to go ahead and throw my torque wrench on these bolts. All right, so valve cover is torqued down. All our 10 millimeter bolts at 7 foot-pounds, the two 12 millimeter at 15 foot-pounds. So now we're putting in our spark plug, coil packs. We're going to torque these down as well, 7 foot-pounds. And then we're going to put our wire harness back and get our intake manifold in. And we'll give it a day. We'll start up tomorrow evening and cross our fingers. Everything is good to go. The only reason why we're waiting is that RTV needs some time to set. So I like to give it 24 hours. just to make sure it's, you know, set properly, especially with oil and stuff. So that's the plan right now. So let's get these in and wrap this up. All right, harness is going back in. So we're getting the coil packs, the cam sensor in the back, or injectors right here. All right, and on this side, one more coil pack. I like these clips, they're pretty cool. I love how they snap in place. And this one is gonna go on the intake manifold. So let's just see what we have here. This sits in the belly. This one is gonna come around onto our intake manifold. So I think we're good. Let's just throw on the intake manifold and we're good to go. All right, final confirmation. I got this one that goes on our intake manifold. All my plugs are in. This bolt right here, the VVTi oil line bolt, you can't really get a torque wrench on it because of the clearance. So I torqued it by hand. We'll have to see. I don't think it will leak, but if it does leak, then I can always tighten it a little bit more, but don't want to go crazy on that. So just confirm everything is in place and our hoses are routed the way they were before. And now we're gonna get my tape protection that I had, and we're gonna throw our intake manifold back on, and we're almost done. Well guys, we've come to the end. The car is back together. Now we just gotta wait for the RTV to dry and hopefully no more leaks. What's the difficulty level? Honestly, it's not a hard project. It's tedious because of this VVT bolt that gets in the way when you're trying to lift the valve cover directly up. Because you have the timing chain gears that are on this side, on the right side of the valve cover, and just getting it out with that bolt in place, because you can't really get the bolt out. If you get the bolt out, then you can't get the valve cover on. It's a mess. So difficulty level, I'd say if 1 is easy, 10 is hard, I'd probably put it at a 7.5, 8, simply because of that bolt. Otherwise, it's a relatively easy job. So hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it for today. We try to film as much as we could. It was very hard when we're putting the valve cover on, so I apologize if you guys didn't get the full detail, but you get a basic idea, hopefully, from this video. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll drive this thing. We gotta test the brakes, obviously make sure it doesn't leak anymore. So we'll probably do a driving video. I'm sure a lot of you guys would love to hear this 2GR. So we'll try to squeeze that in. But until next time, I'll see you guys around. Thank you so much.